Stop lying, kid. I'm your boss. Park Jin-woo's voice echoed through the crystal ballroom. His Tom Ford tuxedo was perfect. His Patek Philippe gleamed. 20 enforcers stood behind him, smirking. The black girl in the maid's uniform didn't move. "No, sir," Mariana Morrison said quietly. "I'm yours." The room exploded with laughter. The Seoul Syndicate Council, 12 of Korea's most dangerous men, watched from their table. Entertainment. Jin-woo stepped closer. "You clean toilets. I run the Jade Serpent Society. Now get out before." "Before what?" Mariana Morrison's voice steadied. "Before you fire your own boss?" Jin-woo grabbed her folder, threw it. Papers exploded across marble. "Security, Mr. Park." Elder Kim's voice cut through. The council chairman. 80 years old. Absolute authority. He picked up a document. "Read it." His face went pale. "Jin-woo SSI. You should see this. Have you ever watched someone destroy themselves and not know it?" 3 months earlier, Amara was a nursing student in Memphis. Now she owned $847 million. And Jin-woo had no idea. But before we watch Jin-woo's empire crumble brick by brick, hit that subscribe button. Because what you're about to witness isn't just a story about revenge. It's a masterclass in patience, strategy, and the kind of justice that only comes when you're willing to bleed for it. Trust me, you don't want to miss a single move. December 10th, 7 days before the ceremony. Mariana Morrison pushed her cleaning cart down the empty 10th floor hallway at 11:47 p.m. The enforcers had changed shifts, new guards who didn't know her yet. She knocked on Suite 1017. "Housekeeping." No answer. She'd watched Jin-woo leave an hour ago in a black SUV with 3 bodyguards, headed to a club in Itaewon. He wouldn't return until 3 a.m. For hours. Using her master key, she slipped inside. The suite was dark except for city lights bleeding through floor-to-ceiling windows. Seoul glittered below, a kingdom Jin-woo believed was his. She texted Attorney Lee inside. His reply came instantly, 15 minutes maximum. In and out. Through the double doors, Jin-woo's office waited. Mahogany desk. Leather chairs. Bookshelves filled with law books he'd never read. From her cart, she pulled out 5 surveillance devices, smaller than buttons, Israeli military grade, battery life 6 months. Undetectable. She worked fast. First device under the desk with a magnetic mount. Second inside the bookshelf lamp. Third behind a painting frame. Fourth in the air vent. Fifth inside the desk phone. She was installing the 3rd device when voices erupted in the hallway. Her heart stopped. The door handle turned. Mariana Morrison dove behind the desk, pulling her cart with her. The lights blazed on. "Told you, the shipment arrives Thursday. We move it Friday night." Jin-woo's voice. He came back early. 2 sets of footsteps. Jin-woo and Minho. "And the council ceremony?" Minho asked. "Formality. Elder Kim already confirmed. 7 days and this organization is officially mine." They walked to the sitting area, 15 feet from where Amara crouched. "What about the American rumor?" "There is no American. Father had no other children. Just paranoid gossip." Silence. Hyung, "But if someone did challenge, they won't." "But if they did?" Jin-woo's voice went cold. "Then I'd kill them. Slowly. In front of the council. As a lesson." Mariana Morrison pressed her trembling hands flat against the floor. "Now pour me a drink. I need to review these contracts." Footsteps approached the desk. Her mind raced. The cart was visible. If he looked down, if he walked around. "Actually, let's go to the club. I need to clear my head. You just got back. And now I'm leaving again. Come on." The lights went off. The door closed. Silence. Mariana Morrison stayed frozen for 10 minutes. Finally, she stood on shaking legs and finished installing the devices. She checked each one, all transmitting. Then she wiped every surface, every fingerprint, every trace. At 12:31 a.m., she pushed her cart into the empty hallway. In the staff bathroom, she locked herself in a stall and just breathed. Her phone buzzed. Lee, status? Mariana Morrison, done. All 5 active. Lee, good. Come to the office tomorrow. We review everything you captured. Mariana Morrison, he said he'd kill anyone who challenges him. Slowly, 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Lee, I know. That's why we need to be smarter than him. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Mariana Morrison changed into jeans and a jacket, then walked out through the staff exit. Seoul's winter air hit her face, cold, sharp, real. She'd just bugged a Mafia boss's office. In 7 days, she'd tell him she owned everything he'd built. And if she failed, he'd kill her slowly. As a lesson, she pulled out her phone and opened the surveillance app Lee had installed. Live feed from Jinwoo's office. Crystal clear video. Perfect audio. She watched the empty room on her screen. This is insane. But she kept walking toward the subway. Toward her small apartment. Toward 7 more days of preparation. Behind her, the Golden Phoenix Hotel blazed with lights. Inside, Jinwoo was drinking with his brother, laughing, planning his coronation. Completely unaware that every word was being recorded. That his invisible maid had just become his worst nightmare. That in 7 days, everything would change. The countdown had begun. December 12th, 5 days before the ceremony. Golden Phoenix Hotel, sub-basement level. 2:17 a.m. The surveillance footage had shown something strange. For 3 nights, Mariana Morrison watched Jinwoo's recordings. Business meetings. Phone calls. Contract negotiations. All useful. All incriminating. But one thing kept appearing. Every night at 2 a.m., Jinwoo took the service elevator down. Past the lobby. Past the parking garage. To a level that didn't exist on any hotel map. Sub-basement 3. He stayed for 20 minutes. Always alone. Always carrying a black leather ledger. What's down there? Amara had asked Lee. I don't know. The hotel blueprints only show 2 basement levels. Then there's a 3rd they're hiding. Mariana Morrison, your job is intelligence gathering. Not. I'm going down there. That's suicide. He goes at 2 a.m. I'll go at 2:30. After he leaves. Lee had been silent for a long moment. If you get caught. I won't. Now Mariana Morrison stood in the service corridor, heart pounding. She'd watched Jinwoo take the elevator up 7 minutes ago. Back to his suite. The coast was clear. She pressed the call button. The elevator arrived. Empty. Inside, she used the master override key Lee had provided. A panel opened, revealing 3 additional buttons. SB1. SB2. SB3. She pressed SB3. The elevator descended. Deeper than it should. The walls changed from polished metal to raw concrete. The doors opened to darkness. Mariana Morrison stepped out. Her phone's flashlight cut through the black. The corridor was narrow. Unfinished. Old pipes ran along the ceiling. At the end, a steel door. Keypad lock. She pulled out the code scanner. Pressed it against the pad. Lee's tech worked. Numbers flashed across the small screen. 4-7-2-9. The lock clicked. Mariana Morrison pushed the door open. The smell hit her first. Sweat. Fear. Unwashed bodies. Her flashlight swept the room. Cages. 20 of them. Chain link. Padlocked. Each barely 6 feet square. And inside, people. Women. Girls. Some as young as 15. Different nationalities. Vietnamese. Thai. Chinese. Filipino. They blinked in her light. Terrified. Silent. Mariana Morrison's stomach turned. Oh my God. One girl pressed against the cage. Maybe 17. Bruised face. Please, she whispered in English. Please help us. Mariana Morrison moved closer. Hands shaking. How long have you been here? 2 months. Some longer. They bring men. Make us, her voice broke. Trafficking. Jinwoo wasn't just running drugs and weapons. He was selling people. Mariana Morrison's mission had been simple: gather evidence, prepare for the ceremony, claim her inheritance. But this. She looked at the 20 faces staring back. Hope and terror mixed in their eyes. "I'm going to get you out," she heard herself say. "When?" The girl's voice was desperate. "Soon. I need to plan. But I'm coming back. I promise. They'll kill us if we try to run. They won't get the chance." Mariana Morrison pulled out her phone. Started photographing. Every cage. Every face. Every detail. Evidence. Then she saw it. On a table near the door. The black leather ledger. She grabbed it. Flipped through pages. Names. Prices. Dates. Clients. Kim Sang-woo, $15,000. Vietnamese, 19. Lee Dong-hyun, $12,000. Thai, 16. Park Min-suk, $20,000. Chinese, 18. Page after page. Hundreds of transactions. Years of sales. This wasn't just Jinwoo's operation. This was the Jade Serpent Society's foundation. Their real money. Mariana Morrison photographed every page. Her hands steady now. Rage burning through the fear. A sound above. Footsteps. The elevator. Someone was coming down. "Hide your faces," Mariana Morrison whispered to the girls. "Pretend you're asleep." She shoved the ledger back. Ran to the door. Slipped into the corridor. The elevator doors opened. A guard stepped out. Heavy-set. Armed. Mariana Morrison pressed against the wall. Darkness hiding her. He walked to the steel door. Unlocked it. Went inside. She moved. Fast. Silent. Back to the elevator. Pressed the button. Come on. Come on. The doors opened. She dove inside. Hit lobby. As the elevator rose, she checked her phone. 73 photos. The entire ledger documented. Her hands were still shaking. Those girls. Those children. This wasn't about inheritance anymore. This wasn't about proving herself or honoring her father's wishes. This was about stopping a monster. The elevator reached the lobby. Mariana Morrison stepped out. Walked calmly through the empty hotel. Outside, Seoul's pre-dawn air felt different now. Heavier. She pulled out her phone. Called Lee. "It's 2:47 a.m. This better be. He's trafficking people. Girls. 20 of them in cages in a hidden basement." Silence. "Lee, did you hear me?" "I heard you." His voice was tight. "Tell me everything." She did. Every detail. Every photo. The ledger. When she finished, Lee was quiet for a long time. "This changes everything," he finally said. "I know. If you expose this before the ceremony, Jinwoo will know someone's onto him. He'll move the girls. Destroy evidence. Maybe kill them. And if I wait? You claim the organization first. Then you have the power to shut it down from inside. Save everyone. 5 more days. Those girls have to wait 5 more days." "I know. But if you move now." "I know." Mariana Morrison closed her eyes. "I know." She thought of the 17-year-old girl. "Please help us." 5 days, Mariana Morrison said. "Then I burn his entire world down." Take a breath. I know this hit different. If you're feeling that fire in your chest right now, that rage mixed with hope, you're exactly where Amara was. Hit subscribe and drop a comment telling me, what would you do with 5 days and nothing to lose? Because this community, we don't just watch stories. We feel them. December 14th, 3 days before the ceremony. Suite 1017, Golden Phoenix Hotel. 9:47 p.m. Mariana Morrison was changing the towels in Jinwoo's bathroom when she heard the crash. Glass exploding. Liquid splashing. A roar of anger. She froze. "Get in here." His voice. Drunk. Furious. Mariana Morrison stepped into the living room. Jinwoo stood by the bar, face flushed. An empty bottle lay shattered at his feet. Macallan 1926, the label still visible. 60-year-old scotch worth $75,000. Whiskey pooled across marble floor. Glass shards everywhere. His brother Minho sat on the sofa, watching. Amused. You. Jinwoo pointed at Mariana Morrison. Clean this. Now. She moved toward the cleaning cart. No. His voice stopped her. Not with towels. With your hands. Mariana Morrison turned slowly. Sir. You heard me. Pick up the glass. With your bare hands. Minho laughed. Hyung, she'll cut herself. Good. Maybe she'll learn to move faster. I've been waiting 10 minutes for fresh towels. Mariana Morrison's jaw tightened. The towels had been delayed because she'd been photographing documents in his office. Evidence for the ceremony. Sir, I can clean this safely with. Did I ask for your opinion? Jinwoo stepped closer. Used his height. His power. You're a maid. I give orders. You follow. Now pick up the glass or you're fired. Silence. Mariana Morrison thought about the ceremony. 3 days away. If she got fired now, she'd lose access. Lose surveillance. Lose her invisible position inside his world. She knelt down. The whiskey soaked through her uniform. Cold. Expensive. Wasted. She reached for the largest shard. Her fingers touched the broken glass carefully. Faster, Jinwoo said. She picked it up. A sharp edge bit into her thumb. Blood welled. She didn't react. Just placed the glass in her other palm. Reached for another piece. Look at this, Minho. So obedient. Like a dog. Minho's laughter echoed. Mariana Morrison kept working. Blood mixed with whiskey on her hands. But her mind was calculating. The bottle. The glass. Jinwoo's thumbprint would be on it. She'd read about it in Lee's security briefing. The council used biometric verification for the ceremony. Fingerprints. DNA. Impossible to forge. But if she had Jinwoo's print, she could access his private files. The ones even the surveillance couldn't reach. She picked up the bottle's neck. The largest piece. Jinwoo's thumbprint was clear on the glass, pressed into the whiskey residue. Perfect. You're bleeding on my floor, Jinwoo said. Sorry, sir. Don't apologize. Just clean faster. Mariana Morrison worked methodically. Every shard collected. But the bottle's neck, she palmed it. Slipped it into her apron pocket while reaching for a towel. 2 minutes. The glass was cleared. She stood. Hands bloody. Uniform soaked. Now mop the whiskey. And when you're done, bring me another bottle. The Glenfiddich. And don't take 10 minutes this time. Yes, sir. Jinwoo turned away. Dismissing her. Already forgetting. Mariana Morrison mopped the floor. Each stroke careful. Thorough. The perfect invisible servant. When she finished, she brought the Glenfiddich. Poured it into his glass. Bowed slightly. Get out. She left. Pushed her cart into the hallway. Walked calmly to the service elevator. Inside, alone, she pulled out the bottleneck. Jinwoo's thumbprint was preserved perfectly in the dried whiskey. She wrapped it carefully in a clean towel. Placed it in her bag. Then she looked at her hands. 3 cuts. Not deep, but bleeding steadily. She thought about the 17-year-old girl in the cage. Please help us. 3 days. In 3 days, she'd walk into that ballroom. Use Jinwoo's smugness against him. His certainty that she was nothing. And when the council asked for proof, she'd have everything. Surveillance. Documents. Fingerprints. DNA. Her father's will. Her legal claim. Her legitimacy. Everything Jinwoo had dismissed because he saw a maid and assumed powerless. Mariana Morrison bandaged her hands in the staff bathroom. Washed the blood away. Changed her uniform. Then she texted Lee. Got his print. Clean. Usable. Lee, how? Mariana Morrison. He made me pick up broken glass with my hands. Lee, Jesus. Mariana Morrison. He called me a dog. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Lee, 3 days. Then you show him what dogs do when they bite back. Mariana Morrison looked at her bandaged hands. 3 days. She smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who'd knelt in whiskey and blood and stayed silent. Someone who'd been dismissed, degraded, dehumanized. Someone who was about to inherit an empire and burn the man who broke the bottle. She left the hotel through the staff exit. Behind her, Jinwoo poured another glass. Laughed with his brother. Secure in his power. Completely unaware that the invisible maid had just stolen his identity. That in 72 hours, his world would shatter. Just like the bottle. But unlike the whiskey, there'd be nothing valuable left to salvage. Just broken glass. And blood. December 16th, one day before the ceremony. Suite 1017, Golden Phoenix Hotel. 11:23 a.m. Mariana Morrison was dusting the bookshelves when Jinwoo's phone rang. She learned to recognize his ringtones. Business partners got classical music. His wife got silence. The council got traditional Korean melodies. This was different. Harsh. Aggressive. Rock music. Bad news. Jinwoo answered. What? His face changed. Confident to concerned in 3 seconds. How did they find out? His voice dropped. Dangerous. I said, how did the Dragon Claw know I was meeting the Russians tonight? Mariana Morrison kept dusting. Invisible. The Dragon Claw Society. Eastern Seoul's largest gang. The Jade Serpent's main rival. And they shouldn't have known about tonight's arms deal. Unless someone told them. Someone like Mariana Morrison, who'd sent an anonymous tip 2 hours ago through an untraceable account Lee had set up. A test. She needed to see how Jinwoo handled real pressure. Real threat. Because tomorrow, at the ceremony, the pressure would be infinite. Pull everyone back, Jinwoo barked into the phone. Cancel the meeting. Move the shipment to the backup location. And find out who leaked this before I. He stopped. Turned. Looked directly at Mariana Morrison. She froze. Get out, he said quietly. Sir, I'm not finished. I said get out. He threw the phone. It flew past her head, shattered against the wall. Mariana Morrison didn't move. Didn't flinch. Wrong choice. Jinwoo crossed the room in 3 strides. Grabbed her arm. His grip was iron. Who have you been talking to? Sir, I don't. You've been working this floor for 2 weeks. My floor. My office. You've seen documents. Heard conversations. His face was inches from hers. Did someone pay you? The Dragon Claw? The police? I'm just a maid. You're a spy. His grip tightened. And I'm going to find out who you're working for. He shoved her toward the door. She stumbled. Caught herself on the cart. Minho. Jinwoo shouted. His brother appeared from the bedroom. Saw Mariana Morrison. Understood immediately. Check her. Phone. Bag. Everything. Minho moved forward. Mariana Morrison backed up. Sir, please. I don't know what. Empty your pockets. Now. Her mind raced. She had her phone. Clean. Lee had made sure nothing incriminating was stored locally. But her bag had the bottleneck with Jinwoo's fingerprint. I said now. Mariana Morrison pulled out her phone. Handed it to Minho. He scrolled through. Contacts. Messages. Photos. All fake. All planted by Lee's team to create a believable cover. Clean, Minho said. The bag. Mariana Morrison's heart pounded. It's just cleaning supplies. Open it. She had no choice. She opened the bag. Minho dumped it. Spray bottles. Rags. Gloves. The wrapped bottle neck fell out. Minho picked it up. Unwrapped it. Saw the glass. What's this? From the bottle Mr. Park broke 2 days ago. I kept it. I'm sorry. I thought maybe I could sell it. The label. To collectors. Silence. Jinwoo stared at her. Then he laughed. Sharp. Mean. You're not a spy. You're just a thief. He grabbed the glass. Looked at it. Saw his own thumbprint preserved in dried whiskey. And threw it. The glass shattered against the wall. The evidence gone. Mariana Morrison's stomach dropped. 3 months of planning. The fingerprint she'd bled for. Destroyed. You want to steal from me? Jinwoo's voice was ice. Fine. Let's see what that costs. He pulled out his wallet, counted bills, threw them at her feet. 500,000 won. That's what your job is worth for the year. Take it and get out. You're fired. The money scattered across the floor. Sir, please. I need this job. I have rent. I can't. Should have thought about that before you stole from me. He turned to Minho. Call security. I want her escorted out and blacklisted from every hotel in Gangnam. Minho pulled out his phone. Mariana Morrison looked at the money, at Jinwoo's back, at her shattered evidence. One day before the ceremony. And she'd just lost everything. Pick up the money, Jinwoo said without turning. Or leave it. I don't care. But get out of my sight. Mariana Morrison knelt, gathered the bills with shaking hands. 500,000 won. About $350. A year of her life. Dismissed. Security arrived. 2 men. Professional. Cold. This woman is terminated. Escort her out. Make sure she takes nothing that belongs to the hotel. They grabbed her arms. Not rough. Just firm. Mariana Morrison didn't resist. As they led her to the elevator, she looked back. Jinwoo had already forgotten her. On his phone. Rebuilding his plan. Solving his crisis. The elevator doors closed. And Mariana Morrison smiled. Because Jinwoo had just made a fatal mistake. He'd thrown away the glass. But Mariana Morrison had already photographed the fingerprint yesterday. Sent it to Lee. Uploaded it to the secure server. The physical evidence was destroyed. But the digital copy was eternal. And the test she'd passed. Jinwoo under pressure was sloppy. Emotional. Violent. Tomorrow, when the council questioned him, when Mariana Morrison revealed herself, when everything collapsed, he'd react exactly the same way. And the council would see him for what he was. A man who blamed others for his failures. A man who destroyed evidence in rage. A man unfit to lead. The elevator reached the lobby. Security escorted her out the front doors. Into Seoul's winter afternoon. Amara pulled out her phone. Texted Lee, fired. As planned. Lee, the fingerprint? Mariana Morrison, he destroyed it. But we have the digital copy. Lee, perfect. Tomorrow. 7 p.m. Everything changes. Mariana Morrison walked away from the Golden Phoenix Hotel. Behind her, Jinwoo was calling the Dragon Claw. Threatening. Posturing. Completely unaware that the maid he'd just fired was the one who'd leaked his location. That the test wasn't about the Russians. It was about him. And he'd failed. 24 hours until the ceremony. 24 hours until a fired maid walked into a ballroom and said 2 words that would end him. I'm yours. The chandeliers blazed like captive stars. Jiro had spared no expense for the summit, a show of strength disguised as diplomacy. Representatives from every major clan in the region filled the ballroom, their laughter sharp as broken glass, their smiles weaponized. This was theater, and everyone knew their role. Except Mariana Morrison. You can't be serious, she said, staring at the garment draped across her cot. Mrs. Chin, the head housekeeper, wouldn't meet her eyes. Boss's orders. All the serving girls wear them tonight. For the aesthetic. The dress was a mockery, a caricature of traditional servant attire, cut too short, too revealing. The kind of costume designed to remind everyone exactly where they stood in Jiro's hierarchy. Mariana Morrison's fingers curled into fists. And if I refuse? Then you'll be looking for new employment. Mrs. Chen's voice softened. I'm sorry, child. But tonight isn't the night to make a stand. 2 hours later, Mariana Morrison moved through the crowd like a ghost, silver tray balanced perfectly despite the rage burning in her chest. Around her, men in $1,000 suits appraised the servers with the same casual interest they'd show livestock. She kept her face blank, her movements efficient. Professional. Champagne, gentlemen? Jiro held court near the grand piano, surrounded by clan heads and their enforcers. He looked resplendent in his tailored tuxedo, every inch the gracious host. When he saw Mariana Morrison approach, something flickered in his eyes, amusement, perhaps, or satisfaction. Ah, refreshments. He plucked a glass from her tray, then gestured broadly to his guests. Please, help yourselves. My staff is here to ensure your every comfort. The emphasis on staff wasn't lost on anyone. Several men chuckled. Mariana Morrison felt their eyes crawling across her skin like insects. She leaned in slightly, voice barely above a whisper. The council is watching. Jiro's smile didn't falter, but his hand tightened around the champagne flute. What did you say? I said the council is watching, sir. She kept her tone neutral, deferential, as if commenting on the weather. They see everything. Eventually. For a heartbeat, uncertainty flashed across his face. Then he laughed, loud, performative, designed to draw attention. This one has jokes. How delightful. He turned to his guests, grinning. You see? Even the help thinks they can lecture me. The surrounding men joined his laughter, but it rang hollow. Mariana Morrison curtsied slightly and moved away, feeling Jiro's gaze boring into her back. She didn't know if the council, that mythical organization of her father's stories, truly existed. But Jiro didn't know that either. And uncertainty, she was learning, could be just as powerful as fear. As she refilled glasses and endured wandering hands, Mariana Morrison counted down the hours. The wolves were circling, yes. But she'd always been good with wolves. The order came down at 4:47 p.m. Handle the girl, Jiro told Takashi, his voice flat as steel. The one who cleans the East Wing. She's become a liability. Takashi was the best, a shadow in human form, responsible for at least 24 clean eliminations over his 15-year career. He'd never questioned an order. Never failed an assignment. He nodded once and left Jiro's office without a word. In the industrial kitchen, Mariana Morrison scrubbed pots with methodical precision. The evening shift cooks had already departed, leaving her alone with the hum of refrigerators and the drip of a faulty faucet. She didn't look up when the door clicked shut behind her. Mariana Morrison. Takashi's voice was soft, almost apologetic. She set down her scouring pad, turned slowly. Mr. Takashi. Working late. You know why I'm here. I do. She dried her hands on her apron, completely calm. The question is whether you know what happens if you follow through. He pulled a silenced pistol from his jacket. Empty threats won't. Mariana Morrison moved. Not away. Toward. The strike came from an angle Takashi didn't expect, her knee driving into his gun hand with surgical precision. The weapon clattered across tile. He recovered instantly, launching a counterstrike that should have ended the fight. Should have. She wasn't there. Her body flowed like water, each of his attacks meeting empty air while her counters landed with devastating accuracy. A palm strike to his solar plexus. An elbow to his floating rib. A sweep that sent him crashing into the prep counter. Who taught you? He gasped, blood on his lips. Someone you'll never find. She had his gun now, though she held it loosely, almost carelessly. Tell Jiro this. I am not his to kill. I belong to something older. Something that remembers when men like him were dust. Takashi stared at her, this girl in a servant's uniform who moved like death itself. The council, he whispered. They're real. Go. She tossed the gun to him. And tell him exactly what happened here. Every detail. Jiro was reviewing shipping manifests when his office door burst open. Takashi stumbled in, suit torn, face already swelling with bruises. Blood dripped from his nose onto the Persian rug. Sir, he swayed, caught himself on a chair. The girl. She's not what we thought. You're telling me you failed? Jiro's voice was dangerously quiet. She knew I was coming. Knew exactly how I'd attack. Takashi's hands trembled. Sir, I've killed trained operatives. Yakuza enforcers. Government agents. That girl she said she belongs to the council. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. "Get out," Jiro whispered. Alone, he stared at the city lights beyond his window. His reflection looked back, suddenly older, uncertain. He'd tried to eliminate a pawn. Instead, he just confirmed he was playing a game he didn't understand. The convoy arrived at precisely 7 a.m. 3 black SUVs, armor-plated and anonymous, rolled through the estate gates like a funeral procession. No advance warning. No phone call. The kind of arrival that made even seasoned criminals check their weapons and review their sins. Jiro watched from his office window, coffee cup frozen halfway to his lips. His security team scrambled into position, uncertain whether to defend or defer. Then he saw the license plates, diplomatic immunity markers that didn't correspond to any known embassy. His blood turned to ice water. "Sir?" His head of security appeared at the door. "Should we?" "Stand down. Everyone." Jiro straightened his tie with trembling fingers. "Let them through." He met them in the grand foyer, flanked by his most trusted lieutenants. 12 men emerged from the vehicles, hard-eyed, silent, wearing suits that cost more than most cars. But it was the 3 who came last that made Jiro's carefully constructed empire feel suddenly fragile. The elders. No one knew their real names. In whispered conversations across the underworld, they were simply referred to as the Old Guard, the architects of criminal infrastructure across 3 continents, the invisible hands that turned wars and economies like pages in a book. The one in the center was ancient, his face a roadmap of violence survived. When he moved, the world seemed to adjust around him. Jiro bowed deeply, lower than he'd bowed to anyone in 15 years. "Honored guests, you grace my..." They walked past him. Not a glance. Not a word. As if he were furniture. His lieutenants exchanged panicked looks. This wasn't protocol. This was a message written in humiliation. The elders moved through the estate with purpose, their entourage following in perfect formation. Down the marble corridors. Past priceless artwork. Through the formal dining room where Jiro hosted presidents and princes. Straight to the kitchen. Mariana Morrison stood at the sink, washing breakfast dishes. She didn't turn when the door opened, didn't flinch when 12 armed men filled the industrial space. She simply set down a plate, dried her hands on her apron, and turned to face them. The Ancient One smiled, a terrible, knowing expression. "Mariana Morrison," he said in a voice like gravel and thunder. "Daughter of Morrison, 3rd of the 7 protectors. We received your signal." She inclined her head with the grace of royalty. "Honored elders. Thank you for coming." Jiro stood frozen in the doorway, his mind racing to catch up with a reality that had just inverted itself. The servant girl. The one he'd humiliated, threatened, tried to kill. She was bowing to them. No, they were bowing to her. "Report," the elder commanded, but his tone was respectful. "Collegial." "The target has been isolated," Mariana Morrison said calmly. "His organization is compromised." The Kazama situation was staged to assess his decision-making under pressure. He failed every test. She finally looked at Jiro, her eyes empty of emotion. "He's ready for harvest." The word hung in the air like an executioner's blade. Jiro tried to speak, to protest, to demand answers. But the ancient elder raised one finger, a minimal gesture that nonetheless commanded absolute silence. "Mr. Tanaka," he said softly, "we need to discuss your future. Or lack thereof." Jiro's world had become a stranger's dream. They'd moved his conference room, his domain, but somehow it felt like foreign territory now. The elders sat at the head of the table where he usually presided, their 12 guards positioned at every exit. His own lieutenants had been dismissed with a gesture so casual it was insulting. He stood, waiting, a supplicant in his own empire. The kitchen door opened. Mariana Morrison entered, still in her servant's uniform, wiping motor grease from her hands with a dish towel. She'd been working on something in the service elevator shaft. He'd heard the mechanical sounds, assumed it was routine maintenance. Everything had been assumed. Everything had been wrong. The surveillance system is disabled, she reported to the ancient elder. All recordings from the past 6 months have been extracted and secured. His people won't know what we took until it's far too late. The elder nodded approvingly. Excellent work, child. Your father would be proud. Something in Jiro's chest cracked. 6 months. She'd been here 6 months, and he'd thought, what? That she was broken? Desperate? The second elder, a woman whose face bore scars from battles Jiro couldn't imagine, opened a long ebony case. Inside, nestled in red velvet, lay an object that seemed to drink the light around it. The scepter. It wasn't ornate, no jewels, no gold. Just polished black wood, carved with symbols that predated most modern languages. But the weight of authority it carried made the air itself feel heavier. Mariana Morrison, the Ancient One, intoned. You have completed your ordeal of observation. You infiltrated a criminal organization, assessed its leadership, and orchestrated its downfall without detection. The Council recognizes your achievement. The woman lifted the scepter from its case and extended it to Mariana Morrison. Jiro laughed. He couldn't help it, a high, desperate sound that echoed off the mahogany walls. This is absurd. She's a girl. A cleaning woman. I found her in a... Mariana Morrison's eyes met his, and the laughter died in his throat. You found exactly what I wanted you to find, she said softly. A narrative you could accept. A victim you could control. She took the scepter, and something in her posture changed, straightened, sharpened. The subservience that had defined every interaction between them evaporated like morning mist. She was taller somehow. Not in body, but in presence. The Council has existed for 700 years, Mr. Tanaka. We don't tolerate upstarts who traffic children, who brutalize the vulnerable, who think power means freedom from consequence. The ancient elder stood. Your assets are frozen. Your allies have been contacted. Your organization will be dismantled piece by piece and redistributed to those who understand that power requires responsibility. Jiro's scream started as denial and ended as understanding, the terrible, crushing realization that he'd never been the hunter. He'd always been the prey. They came for him at midnight. Not with violence. The Council didn't need theatrics. Just 2 men in immaculate suits who escorted Jiro Tanaka from his penthouse with the efficiency of movers clearing furniture. He didn't resist. What would be the point? The ancient elder had been precise in his pronouncement. Jiro Tanaka no longer exists. The man who bore that name has been dissolved. You are now Subject 447, a cautionary tale for those who forget that all power is borrowed. Subject 447 would live, apparently, in a monastery in Tibet under constant observation, his wealth redistributed, his empire carved up and reformed. A living ghost, erased from the world he'd once commanded. Amina watched the SUVs depart from the master suite, her suite now, sipping jasmine tea from porcelain worth more than most people earned in a year. The irony wasn't lost on her. 6 months ago, she'd scrubbed these floors on her hands and knees. The transition teams have arrived, the scarred elder said from the doorway. Her name was Yuki, Amina had learned. Once a Yakuza princess who'd burned her own family's empire to the ground when she discovered their involvement in human trafficking. Your lieutenants are being briefed. Some will resist. Let them. Amina set down her cup. Anyone who can't accept the new order is welcome to join Subject 447 in his meditation retreat. By dawn, the compound had transformed. Jiro's ostentatious decorations, the golden fixtures, the trophy animal heads, the photographs of him with corrupt politicians, all removed. In their place, clean lines, functional elegance, and in every major room, a small plaque bearing the Council's insignia. A reminder. A promise. Mariana Morrison stood on the master balcony as Houston's skyline caught fire with sunrise. Below, the grounds teemed with activity, Council operatives integrating with Tanaka's former organization, separating wheat from chaff, identifying which operations could be reformed and which needed to be cauterized. The scepter rested against the balcony railing beside her, no longer in its case. A tool, not a trophy. Your father dreamed of this moment, Yuki said, joining her. A protector elevated to regional authority. He would have been proud. My father is dead because he trusted the wrong people. Mariana Morrison's voice was flat. I don't plan to repeat his mistakes. Then you'll do well. Yuki smiled, a rare expression that made her scars dance. The council doesn't crown queens lightly. But that's what you are now, child. Queen of the Gulf Coast Territory. Every criminal enterprise from Corpus Christi to New Orleans answers to you. Every smuggler, every fixer, every corrupt official, they're yours to manage or eliminate. Mariana Morrison thought of the girl she'd been 6 months ago. Desperate. Grieving. Willing to endure any humiliation for a chance at revenge. That girl was gone. In her place stood something sharper. Something patient and precise. Then let's begin, she said. I have a kingdom to clean. Mariana Morrison went from scrubbing floors to owning an empire. But here's the real question. What's your kingdom? What are you quietly building while everyone underestimates you? Subscribe and then tell me in the comments, because this channel isn't just about stories. It's about the people who live them. Welcome to the family.